Alright boys, today we're back again taking a look at the T-55AM-1. This is the old Soviet premium tank, and it's been in the game for quite a few years now. Back before the T-72AV terms were introduced, this tank sat at battle rating 8.7, and did so for many years. And the tank now has a reputation for being quite overpowered. I've made a few videos on this tank before, but I've been playing battle rating 8.7 in the Soviets recently, so I thought I'd cover it again. But because of the prior videos, I'm going to try and keep this one quick. This is of course a T-55AM-1. This is a rank 6 premium vehicle located in the Soviet tech tree, at battle rating 8.3, as we've already covered. To unlock this, you'll have to purchase it off the Gaijin store for $60. Now that is a lot of money, and the same price as the T-72AV terms. Because it's a premium though, you only have a crew train cost of 10,000 Silver Lions, and the Expert in Ace qualifications is 810,000 Silver Lions and 2,000 Golden Eagles respectively. In terms of customization, we have loads of camouflages available for Golden Eagles, and several on the Gaijin marketplace. But let's waste no time, let's jump straight in with their mobility and survivability. The tank is powered by an engine producing 690 horsepower, and with the vehicle's weight of 41.5 tons, it gives the tank a rather average power to weight ratio of 16.6 horsepower per ton. There's no way around it, this isn't amazing. It's kind of post World War II, early Cold War levels of mobility. The tank is pretty quick in a straight line, but the second you press the A or the D key, it starts to just decelerate like a big fat whale. The top speed of 51 km per hour is alright, but the poor reverse speed of 8 km per hour is another major disappointment with the vehicle. But again, this is pretty standard for Soviet vehicles in rank 6 and below, so we're kind of all used to that. So the mobility is pretty poor. What about the survivability? Well, this tank is obviously based on the T-55, so it has a crew of 4 men, with a driver in the hull, and a gunner, commander and loader in the turret. However, the tank is quite small, so they're packed in there like sardines. This means in reality, if a single round penetrates the vehicle, it's likely to kill you in a single hit. But this tank is modernised, hence the M in the name designation. So what did they do to modernise this vehicle? Well, they gave it a bunch of composite armour add-ons, mainly on the upper frontal plate and the cheeks of the turret. These slabs are NERA, or non-explosive reactive armour. It's basically the same sort of stuff that's on the inside of turret fronts of most modern main battle tanks, such as the Abrams Leopard 2 or Challenger 2, except these are mounted externally. They offer limited protection against armour-piercing rounds, but substantially reduce the effectiveness of chemical rounds, such as heat effects and anti-tank guided missiles. At the current battle rating of 8.3, which does see a lot of down tiers to 7.7, this armour is actually fairly good, with your only major weakness from the front being armour-piercing fin stabilised discarding sabre rounds. And whilst they are pretty common in up tiers, in down tiers, most tanks are either firing heat effects, which you have composite armour for, or solid shot armour piercing, which also struggles to go through your armour. But taking a quick look in the armour viewer, we can see that against this tank's own gun, and with APF SDS rounds, the front of the hull gives you over 300mm of protection. And when we move up to the turret, that protection increases substantially, up to around 530mm of protection. Again, those figures are against APF SDS rounds. They are much higher when testing the vehicle's armour against chemical rounds, as well as solid shot AP. Overall, the tank's mobility is a little bit lacking, but that's just the way it is with Soviet vehicles of this battle rating. And the survivability is pretty good. This leads me to think that this tank is like a brawling tank. You can kind of get up close and personal with enemy players and put that great gun to work. Speaking of which, the tank is armed with the 100mm DT-10 T2S cannon. The gun is fully stabilised in both the horizontal and vertical axes, but like a lot of Soviet guns, the reload rate is much lower than their NATO counterparts, with this gun's reload rate being 9.8 seconds, compared to the NATO average of 8.7 seconds with a stock crew. While as we'll see shortly, you have the same gun performance as NATO tanks, but you certainly don't have the reload rate. This gun also has major weaknesses, in both the gun elevation and turret traverse. When stock, the turret will only traverse at a rate of 13 degrees per second, which is pretty terrible lads. This gives the tank rather sloppy gun handling in my opinion. If you spot an enemy on your flank, it's rather hard to get that gun round in time to save you. Like pretty much all other Soviet vehicles, the tank also doesn't know what gun depression is, only being armed with 5 degrees of gun depression, which is a real shame, because this tank would have been a hull down monster. Compared to its bigger brother, the T-72AV terms, the T-55 does not have thermal imaging, however it does have a laser rangefinder. Now, onto the ammunition, and because this is a premium vehicle, we don't need to grind any of this out. Anyway, Our first round is the 3BM8. This is an APDS round. It travels pretty quickly, and at 500 meters, it can penetrate 291mm of armor. It's a pretty good round at batter rating 7.7, but at 8.3 it's rather redundant, especially considering your other ammunition choices. We also have my personal favourite, the BR412D. This is an armor-piercing composite ballistic cap shell with 94 grams of explosive filler. While it travels a lot slower and has less penetration compared to your other rounds, it has much higher post-penetration damage, and one-shot kills pretty much anything you can penetrate. At a range of 500 meters, it can penetrate 220mm of armor, which in my opinion is still more than enough to kill pretty much anything you'll come across. Just be aware, if you do get down tiered, there are quite a lot of super heavy tanks which you will struggle to penetrate with APC-BC rounds. But if that's the case, we have the 3BM25. This is an APF SDS round. It travels much faster as you'd expect, and at a range of 500 meters, it can penetrate 307mm of armor. It's worth bearing in mind, however, this is a short rod penetrator in-game, so it doesn't create a large amount of spalling once it penetrates a vehicle. We then have the 3BK17M. This is a heater fest round. Because this is a chemical warhead compared to a kinetic one, it has a constant amount of penetration, with 390mm no matter what range. And finally, like a lot of other Soviet vehicles, we have the 9M117 anti-tank guided missile. This is a beam riding missile, which practically means it can't be countered, at least by things such as dazzlers. The missile has a range of 4 kilometers and travels at 370 meters per second. Just like the last shell, the heater fest round, this uses a chemical warhead, which can penetrate 600mm of armor no matter what the distance. And apart from a few machine guns, that's it for the firepower. The tank's gun and ammunition is pretty good on this vehicle. It's more than enough to penetrate pretty much everything you'll meet at batter rating 8.3. While up tiers can be a bit of a struggle, that's true for pretty much every vehicle in War Thunder. And I wouldn't say that this tank is lacking in firepower or survivability in an up tier. The problem is more the mobility. The tank's just a little bit too slow at 9.0 and above, but 8.3 and below, it certainly is usable. So I guess the real question is, should you buy this vehicle or the T-72AV terms? Well, I'm going to say definitively that batter rating 8.3 is a lot more fun to play, at least for me, than the T-72AV terms at 9.7. The game's a little bit more chill, you get down tier to 7.7 quite a lot actually, and down to 8.0. The Russian team at 8.3 as well has got a very good lineup. You've got the BMP-2s, the Sturm. The only really thing the Russians are lacking at 8.3 is some good close air support, but if you've got the Mi-24D premium helicopter, then that's a pretty good alternative. But to conclude the video, I can't tell you how to spend your own money. Watch a few videos, watch some other content creators, then make a choice. I own both the T-72AV terms and this vehicle. I enjoy playing the T-55AM a lot more than I enjoy playing the terms. Take that as you will, it's just my opinion. I could be a retard, who knows. But anyway, if you liked the video lads, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. If you really liked it, then consider becoming a channel member, like Tomatin Soured, Deboa LX, Just Someone, Destroyer 1805, Dr. Bob, Tans, William Tessier, and Lola Alfonsi. Thanks again for watching the video lads, and I'll see you in another review.